So yeah, we're here. I'm with MagmaRager. Say hello.
I am MagmaRager Dex. I am somewhat popular on Twitter and Reddit. I write a bunch of guides, and today I've earned my 6,501st warrior win.
Holy.
Majority of them in WoW, maybe like 1,000 of them from the arena. And that's it. That's me. I'm the warrior guy. I'm a Dead Man's Hand warrior cultist, representative of the DMH Discord, and I'm here to rank every warrior legendary and share my schizo deck building ideas.
Yeah, we have all the warrior
Good, bad.
legendaries loaded up. I put the same listing as I had for the last one. I updated this so it's not as goofy, but yeah.
I would appreciate if the tier list had like something above S, which is called like just historic value. Because as a WoW player, I cannot like accurately rank warrior legendaries as their appearance from standard.
Yeah.
But
So
if a
fair.
card was strong in the past and was like the bulk of warrior class, somewhat like Sorfang, like it's gonna be like a little
Yeah.
teaser for my
So
rankings
that
in
that that
the
is
future.
what I was considering when I was making the hunter list. I was also considering how good it was in standard and just its longevity in total. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I have played like standard on and off over the years, so I can understand cards like say like Yip or Rot Face. Those were actually playable cards at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a little bit of insight on what was still good in standard. Obviously, I'm not a full on standard player, but you know. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the way that I just downloaded these. They go from most expensive, least expensive, for the most part. So we're starting with Akali the Rhino. Where do you think this card should go?
Akala the Reno works with sweeping strikes, and it literally does nothing.
That's what I
Uh,
was. That's what I was thinking about the literally does nothing tier. This card just never saw any play. It's also overkill to activate its effect, which just so bad, so bad.
I actually love Overkill Keyword. Like,
Yep.
I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this tier list video as a home for my hot takes, but I believe that Overkill can be a well-designed keyword for Warrior specifically, and Honorable Kill especially. It's just if you design the class around like dealing damage, dealing a lot of charge damage and rush damage, it could actually encourage minion combo lock here.
Well then,
I am ready to discuss Rattlegore.
yeah, Rattlegore.
So, Rattlegore is the prime Death Rattle Warrior material.
Yeah,
Death Rattle Warrior is a unicorn style warrior deck, which is like Warrior has no Death Rattle themes within itself, but it has cards that look like they can support some neutral Death Rattles, like Terran Gorefiend and Cube, Carnivorous Cube, the Kraken, Umbra. Some of the warrior legendaries just seem to have a fantastic value ceiling with them. Ralgor is one of these. It's like its effect begs to be abused. Although, obviously, by experience, we know that Ralgor was best when just played naked on turn 9 without
yeah,
any specific shenanigans and just
so,
sent to face.
yeah.
Iconic voice line, very iconic to warrior class in general. Very high historic value,
Oh yeah.
excellent flavor, big power, and I still wouldn't put it in S. I still wouldn't put it in good because I don't want. I want to be honest to myself, and I want to rate these in terms of how interesting and how powerful are the decks with these
Yeah.
cards right now.
So
I would put it. I would put it
think
like in the best card in the useless tier.
well,
In the useless
I
tier.
think Rattlegar should go in good because he was completely like in all of the like warrior decks in standard for a full year. Like this card was in
Mhm.
warrior and standard, and warrior was good in standard for that full year. I think you're right. He shouldn't go in S for sure, but do think he's like bottom of good tier at least for right now. You get what I mean?
Sure, like I can slot Rattlegore in good. I
Yeah,
believe this card can go up, like
yeah,
sometime someday in the future. I
yeah.
believe
Because
2024 is gonna be year of big warrior, like
yeah,
a year of why not?
yeah,
They're,
like
they're gonna put like more broken shit out.
yeah.
Right?
So the way that I like have it structured is like it's more like the peak of this card. Like if it's say like Varian never ever was playable, right? So obviously it's a lot
I'm
easier
gonna
to put him.
comment on that.
What?
I'm gonna comment on that.
You think Varian was playable?
I'm gonna comment on that. Just go on. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well,
Finish
yeah,
your round
like I was saying.
commentary.
So for the S tier cards, those are like the best warrior cards. Like either when they came out in standard, like they meta defined the game, or they're still incredibly powerful and wild, and they have been for years. Like Ankar. Ankar's definitely going to be an S tier card, no question, right? But
That's
like
spoiler. That's like spoilers.
Yeah, but then when it comes to something like, Sourfang, which was okay for like one expansion, that could be either good or useless. You get what I mean?
Also spoiler. I'm gonna put a large documentary on Sorfang. All of that deserves my every bit of knowledge.
Okay.
So yeah, just put the card in the tier of
I think
good.
it's fair. Okay, so then we have Varian. I think Varian should probably go here. I don't think it's useless. Like, literally does nothing, but...
Varian is terrible outside one specific interaction. The condition of it was like to put some 9 and 8 cost minions on the top end of the deck and have them tempo bombed after you bulk out, of course. These were cards like Runaway Blackwing or Moark Forge Fiend, which was just released in Stormwind, or Ragnaros, because it was the only way for the Varian combo to deal immediate damage to the enemy hero.
Yeah.
And that also includes like 7 costs like Lothar. Lothar is gonna be bumped like 1 tier above specifically because we've played this card in this one specific interaction in Reign of Warrior.
Yeah.
Overlord Sorfang. I'm gonna write. I've recorded around 2 video essays dedicated specifically to Overlord Sorfang.
Can you?
I'm not gonna restate them.
Yeah.
They were about DMH Warrior in particular. So in Barons was the best era for Warrior in Wild. I mean, so far, maybe Castle Nafre was actually like on par with the Barons level. What Sorfang did is you pair it with Crash and 1 or 2 Stonewall Anchormen, and you repeat that effect 8 times using the Dead Man's Hand loop. So Sorfang is terrible when you use it once per game. So in terms of like describing Sorfang in standard or in any format where Sorfang cannot be repeated, terrible card. Before Crash Mini Set was released, we had to toy around with Gruntle Patrons. That was a terrible idea. Honestly, just for the fact that Sorfang made me reach Legend with DMH Warrior in January 2022 and in January 2023 in its like another iteration, and in March 2023, which is like very modern day Hearthstone. It was like an iteration of Real DMH Warrior, which used to pull the second copy of DMH from ETC, like big brain deck building time. For that alone, Sorfang is contradictory to the public opinion, an S tier legendary for me as a Dead Man's Hand cultist. Yeah, it's an S tier legendary because it does everything that you need in the late game, clears the board, summons tempo, and gives you life gain, and it's repeatable. I love everything about Sorfang in late game, and although most of his function is outdone by Astal or Bloodthorn, I really want people to see Overlord Sorfang in tier S. Just to see the shocked faces. But not just for the clickbait, but also because I genuinely believe this.
Clickbait is something that goes into consideration, don't get me wrong. So I do think that Sourfang was a really strong card during Barons, also in Standard. It's just... I feel like this card shouldn't go in S, mainly because it doesn't also have that like super iconic value for Warrior. You get what I mean? I'll believe you that it should definitely go in good, but I feel like there's so many like iconic Warrior legendaries that are just like a whole level above Sourfang. You get what I mean?
All right, yeah, I'm preparing a list for the S tier legendaries. Yeah, the S tier is gonna be bloated if I put Sorfang in.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you, caller, for taming my for taming my ass. Let's put Sorfang in good above Rattlegore.
Yeah. You know what?
Above
I'm
Rattlegore
okay with
because
it.
my preference is wild. Because
Yeah.
my preference is
Okay.
wild. Yeah.
So then we have Scourge Lord Garrosh. I think this is fair. I don't think we do really need to talk much about that. What do you think?
It's nothing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I
Scourge Lord Garrosh never saw light of day, and specifically the attempt where we tried to make Plague of Wrath broken with the recyclable 2-mana Whirlwind hero power.
Yeah.
Never happened though. But Plague of Wrath, yeah, like that one-time experiment in Old Dome, when it happened, gave like just one specific use case about 4 years ago. I count that as nothing. Please
okay.
put it back to literally does nothing tier.
Okay.
I'm not a Scourge Lord Garrosh believer, and obviously though, I'm patiently waiting for the next twist season where they're gonna obviously give Scourge Lord Garrosh 12 armor.
Yeah.
Because this is how much Scourge Lord Garrosh deserves.
So when it comes to Odin, I think Odin can't go lower than good at the minimum, but I do think Odin S tier is fair. Hear me out. Even Warrior,
I'm hearing you.
Even Warrior during before Yogg came out was a cracked deck. That deck was so good, and it got nerfed because how good it was. And Odin Warrior got nerfed in Standard because of how good it was. And like I think Odin just is going to define the Warrior class for years to come. So I don't think you can really put it. You definitely can't put it below good, but like I feel like that's why it should be S.
If Odin cannot go below S.
Oh,
Odin is a new picture of Warrior. Like as it stands in like the cultural impact of the card, Odin has really popularized Warrior. I'm all fair and square with this. One of the positive cultural impacts of like Odin being widespread all around is that people have finally realized that Brawl is a terrible, outdated, and an unplayable mass removal spell.
Yes.
Odin is an S tier card because I mean I wish I could explain it in ways that wouldn't be like just blatant restatement of everything obvious.
Yeah.
Odin, we love Odin.
Yeah. I literally don't even know the name.
What's your opinion on Malkarok?
Malkarok, I think this card's literally useless. Like in the actual sense, it's just isn't it just I mean, it's equip a random weapon. Wouldn't Blingtron be better than this? And the 1-mana whatever it's called, Molten Blade.
So this is gonna be definitely not the last time I'm gonna say this phrase. So the phrase is, the last thing you need in your warrior decks is value and random. Whenever you have a card which says value or says random on it, you immediately ditch it from your warrior decks. Malkarok says random, so no. Even we're not even looking at the joking stat line to mana cost ratio.
Yeah. I don't think
literally does nothing.
Was Boom Reaver ever in a playable deck? Like you never. This came out before Big Warrior was good in Standard. I don't think this card like really ever did anything.
Boom Reaver was included in deck slots like once across like 1 month worth of Standard of Rise and Shadows, and that's it. The history from here.
Okay.
The Boom Reaver, for some reason, back when BlackRock was just released, I've had this like one tiny brain fart moment where I thought, yeah, what if I add Boom Reaver to my BlackRock Warrior? And I crafted Boom Reaver, and 3 seconds later, I realized I cannot add the Boom Reaver to the deck and have it be positive.
I think Rokara definitely goes in S tier. This card's nuts. Like, this card is so good that when you're playing Even Warrior, you put it in your ETC. You know?
Rokara the Valorous is what saved Warrior temporarily. in Fractured and Alterac Valley after its buff. It used to be one of the worst hero cards at 5 armor, and is suddenly the savior of the warrior class at 10 armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember how ugly did this card look like with 5 armor on it? It's like such little numbers, so little text. Feels like a basic, like, or a common card. Better quite equip a 5/2 unstoppable force. That's it. Not even like having the damage that you get.
Yeah.
So Rakar is fantastic. Rakar is S tier, and coupled with Galvangar and Sword Eater, this squad has saved Warrior in its darkest times. I'm gonna discuss what do I mean by the darkest times later. Bow Cleaver.
Yeah, Will Cleaver.
Bow Cleaver is technically still playable in Big Warrior, regardless of what you think about it. I believe that's gonna be the first card entering the use list here,
Yeah.
where Bow Cleaver did define an archetype for some time, and the power level of the card is adequate. Like it has some merit to it. I believe everyone who's played Bow Cleaver before can only argue that it thins your deck too fast, and you run out of resources too quickly. Not really a big issue, I guess. Yeah, Bow Cleaver is in a useless tier.
Yeah. Deathwing. This is the third.
I believe.
Right?
What do you have to think about Deathwing?
So at least for standard, this card was playable until it rotated. It was good in every single warrior deck.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it can't go below good just for that alone, because it was good for the entire time it was in standard. So I think that alone keeps it there, and it's obviously not going to be an S tier. I feel like it's just, are you comparing it to Rattlegore and then what you believe in Sour Fang? I think it's just worse than these two cards, though.
True. I believe that Deathwing Mad Aspect is the most flavorful card in the entire Hearthstone. Just because it uses 5 words worth of text to tell a gigantic story from World of Warcraft Cataclysm and how Deathwing died.
That's fine.
It's fantastic to look at. It's fantastic to experience. And it also fits everything that you want to do as Warrior. In terms of playability, Deathwing has seen a little bump of playability after Black Rock got introduced, because suddenly, when Deathwing is at 2020, it does survive more boards after it attacks. And if it does survive more boards after it attacks, then it means it's, like, most of the time gonna be a lone 20 attack minion, uncontested, which is which doubles up for its synergy. It's pretty synergistic, although I still do not include Deathwing Mad Aspect in 30 card Blackrock Warrior. I still do it in a 40 card Blackrock Warrior.
Yeah.
Which is like solidifies it as good. Like if it has at least that much of usage, it's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So Rotface. I feel like Rotface should probably go here. It was kind of fringe playable when it was in standard, and I don't really think that you're ever playing this in wild.
The last thing that you want to have in your warrior deck is random and value.
Yeah.
Please put Rotface in bad.
Okay. Yeah. So then we have what is it, Nelly or Nessie? I always forget because I haven't seen this card forever.
It's Nelly. It's Nelly. They wouldn't call it literally Nessie.
So Nelly, what you're gonna say it's S tier? Is that what you said?
In terms of Nelly got introduced to Warrior class back when Warrior was in the darkest epoch possible. Like Sunken City, I don't think anything worse than Sunken City could have happened to a Warrior class in Wild. The cards are all over the place, and some of them are aimed to support like weapons, which is pretty random. Some of them are like Fires of Zinashari. And then when we're about to hit our fantastic Colossal minion, which in other classes does flip the board immediately and steals your opponent's wife, in Warrior class it gets you 3 pirates. Although when one of these pirates is Mr. Smite, obviously it's broken. Pretty good.
And when they cost 0, it was really good on release in standard at least. and then obviously it got nerfed because of standard. But like, I feel like a card that was good enough to get nerfed should go in good tier. You get what I mean?
I could I could get Nelly in good. I believe even the post buff Nelly does not particularly hurt your deck when you add it, like anywhere. I will be more welcoming to see Nelly in your control warriors than I would see like Warpath, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
So it doesn't hurt you, but it doesn't benefit you.
yeah,
And the card has had a good history,
yeah,
good enough for a good tier.
yeah. So I think Grommash goes in S tier. Hear me out. This card has been playable in Warrior
I'm
on and
hearing you
off
out.
literally since it came out, and it's been good in Warriors on and off since it came out. Like, a part of the S tier is longevity of a card, and literally nothing can have more longevity than Grommash. So, you get what I mean?
I've seen people play Grommash in Standard, and I have never understood a bit about it. Like, okay, I mean that's actually fine. I actually love every single big charging man that is available in Warrior class. Okay, for like go ahead. I'm a big fan of all of this.
Yeah.
However, I'm biased because in Wild we have had a much larger choice pool of charging green men. I believe the moment the Earth was hit with Captain Galvangar, Grommash was erased from Earth as a as like an option to be considered. So I'm biased to put Grommash in useless simply because I cannot comprehend what is the card pool of Standard that makes it being put in a mid-range slash aggro deck. I like longevity. I can hear your argument about longevity, though I can reserve the S tier for something a bit more cleaner than Grommash.
So you think probably here?
I will actually put it below Nelly
Below
because
Nelly, okay.
I'll put it below Nelly.
Yeah. So Remornia. I know Remornia is good in like obviously it's really good in Black Rock and Roll Warrior, but
Mhm.
like I don't think this card really saw very much play until Black Rock and Roll came out, right?
Remornia has saw play for every second since it came out,
Okay.
but too bad that the interaction, the namesake interaction for it was it went pretty unnoticed by majority of the people. Back in Castle Nathria, the interaction that saved Warrior class from being a dumpster is Remornia plus charge.
Oh yeah, of
If you
course.
couple these two cards on 10 mana, it massacres anything slow and puts your opponent on a clock. I really want to put Remornia in S tier, just because I want to scream like for vengeance for my girl, for my wife's sword, and because this card has actually had a much more impact than it would seem at first. Remornia is played in a variety of decks, and that's what also sells it for an S tier for me, because you can put it like literally everywhere. Like you can fit it in Rush if you want it, in Reno as a just a hand buff sponge. It like absorbs hand buffs a lot.
Oh yeah.
In Blackrock, and in the namesake OTK deck, like just as a lethal engine herself. So many use cases. That's an S tier legendary.
Yeah. So Boom Ship, from my memory, there was a Boom Ship Mechathune OTK deck that when Boomsday came out, you would play Boom Ship, and then you would play Malagos, and then you'd kill Malagos and Boom Ship with what is it called, Inner Rage, and then Whirlwind. That's what the card's name is, right? 0 mana.
There are better ways to put out your Mechathune combo
Yeah.
after
But
Kael'thas
what
Sunstrider
I'm
has come
what I'm
out.
saying is this was like what the on release you did with this card. Like on release, that's what you did.
Your memory serves you right. I'll put the Boom Ship in useless. I believe like every big warrior card is going to end up in useless.
Yeah.
The Boom Ship still up to date. Feels like the best big warrior card after Gather Your Party. The one that comes early enough for something to matter in Wild Hearthstone format.
Yeah.
I believe Boom Ship is good. Like It's useless type of good.
Yeah.
The precisely useless type of good.
Yeah. So Yip. Yip saw play and
Geosculpture Yip.
yeah, so Yip saw play and Control Warrior for most of like its time in standard. Not great play, but it was in those decks.
I
Uh,
believe I believe the card is literally useless.
you think so?
I believe Geosculpture Yip did nothing over its entire lifespan. And the only time I remembered like doing anything about it was time I've considered Yip anywhere was again 40 card Blackrock Warrior. Just because Yip becomes a bit more funny when it has 12 attack on it instead
Yeah.
of 4. So it itself becomes a threat instead of the 10 cost card that it summons.
Yeah.
Also, I believe it's pretty funny that Yip summons 0 cost when you have no armor.
Yeah.
I think you get a little gift wisp.
Yeah, so I think Yip should probably go in bad, not literally useless, because Yip, like I said, Yip saw some play in standard, not great play, but enough that it can't go like in literally useless. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, do we have the Boom Reaver in bats too?
Yeah.
Can we please put down these two to literally does nothing? I want I want the literally does nothing. It's here to be like a little bigger.
Okay, and then we have the Boombot Master Boom for the bomb one.
The Boom, I believe its title was Boom Master.
Yeah, Boom Master Boom. I think this card was like meta.
Blast Master. Yeah, it's Blast Master. The Boom Master is a Hunter legendary.
So yeah, Boom Master Flick. But this card was meta defining in standard at one point. So it definitely can't go anywhere below good by any means. But I think S tier is fair because of just how good it was in standard.
Can I please share like a bit of confusion of me? So there was like a trend after Rise of Shadows rotated that the Bomb Warrior builds that spawned in Wild after Bomb Warrior rotated for some reason did cut Blast Master Boom. And I have no idea why, because the card has never felt weak at any point of time.
Yeah.
Even if the main point of Bomb Warrior was like interrupting Ignite combo or something, and that would mean that Blast Master Boom was not really needed.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like
I'm so confused. Why did people cut Blast Master Boom? The card just literally never has felt bad, and its fantastic interaction with the Boom hero is really selling. Yeah. If you want to put Blast Master Boom in S tier for like the historic value of it in standard, I'm kind of fine with it, but I myself haven't clinged enough to the Bomb Warrior archetype and Bomb Warrior cards to claim it's an S. I could like slot it somewhere along Sorfang, maybe higher than Sorfang, maybe lower than Sorfang. And I believe it's comparable to Rattlegore in regard of how much it was played.
Comparable to Rattlegore, at least. But
it's actually very comparable to Rattlegore in terms of how much play did it see.
Yeah. Yeah. The main reason I was thinking of putting an S just because of how meta-defining it was in standard, but I feel like at least it should be above Remornia by all means, because this card was like genuinely one of the best cards in the game in standard at one point. You get what I mean?
I mean, you do catch me off guard with this like comparison to Remornia. Yes, your argument is pretty selling. You can have your Blast Master Boom have Captain S. Yes, you can.
I feel like this is probably more realistic. Remornia probably like at the exact top of good tier.
Yeah, go ahead. Tame my insane opinions.
I don't even think we really
of a basement dweller wild player.
I don't think we really have
Black Howl Gunspire. Black Howl's like. If only the line of text that says can't attack was replaced with a line of text that says taunt, maybe it would at least have had tempo built into it. Like you build a huge tower. What do you expect it to like? How do you expect your opponents to react to you building a huge tower? Yeah. It's gonna be tall, taunting, maybe blocking your hero. No.
Yeah, for sure.
There was like an OTK deck that I've tried to push as a meme, where your only minion was Black Howl Gunspire, and the OTK line was you equip Woe Cleaver on 8, then you proceed to not attack with it. That's the important part. And then on turn 9, you have your full mana crystals refreshed. You cast like Brawl to wipe out the stuff. Then you get your Black Howl Gunspire and Blaze Torment. Or maybe add some Dimensional Rippers in between, because these spawn 2 copies of Black Howl Gunspire. Insane damage cap. Huge meme, Black Howl Gunspire literally does nothing, and it's laughable.
Yeah. What's this guy? It's General Varax, right?
The name is General Vizax. And okay. It's a Rattlegore wannabe, which is yet to be estimated and yet to be put like in my mind framework. The card is so new, and I believe it's gonna be forever end up like untested.
Yeah,
Vizax is eye candy for theory crafts. I gotta admit.
Yeah, I think it's fair to put it in useless, because it's definitely a lot better than these cards. It's just it hasn't really been used yet. That's how I rated Acid Maw, because Acid Maw, after it's buff, it's a good card. It doesn't actually slot in anything currently, so it hasn't actually been able to be tested.
I'm fine with Vizax put in use here. It's speculated to be like a part of a Reina Warrior with some tempo to be included. That's it.
So Galakrond was incredibly powerful in Standard. Every single Galakrond was, but like this one was one of the better ones. I think it was like the 3rd best one. When it was at like its peak power.
If you follow the rating system that we have developed so far within the last 1 hour, you can put Galakrond in S tier.
Okay. I feel like that's fair, to be honest.
Huge, it's defining, and it's flavorful, and I love the card, and people still cling to it, even after complete fallout of irrelevancy.
Yeah.
It deserves all the placement he got.
Yeah. Lothar. Lothar's like just an okay card. It's just like good, right?
I have faith in the strength of Azeroth. No, Lothar was never a good card. Lothar was never fine. I thought I'm gonna be the one defending Lothar in this conversation, actually. And it turns out that you are the one defending Lothar in this conversation.
In Standard, Lothar was playable in Big Warrior. I don't think it was in the best Big Warrior decks, but it definitely was playable.
Just out of lack of minions to be pulled, not a great argument to save my big boy Lothar.
Yeah.
I thought my argument to save the big boy Lothar is gonna be like, I have put it once in the same terrible variant rain combo I've discussed half an hour ago. I dare you, please put it back and literally does nothing. although like a 7 mana 7/7 rushing minion may seem like it does something, and it's like, and then on the next turn it becomes a 10/10 that swing on something. No. I don't want to see that card. I want to meme about it, but I don't want to see it.
Yeah. Dr. Boom's definitely an easy S. That's not a question. This card...
I'm sorry, you forgot to put the Lothar in the literally does nothing tier, as I requested.
Wow, I thought it was just like a useless, but sure, I'll go with that. Yeah, Dr. Boom is easily an S tier card. This card was actually the best card in the game at one point, like genuinely, and it got nerfed and was still good.
You can have Dr. Boom Magic News in tier S, but my nitpick would be to put it just a little below Ricardo the Valorous, because I want my I want the people who see this video to have their priorities have set straight when deck building.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair, because the Rokar is just so much better now, and you know we're in a more powerful state in the game. I can understand that. Mosh is literally useless because it's power crept by
Mosh is literally useless.
It's power crept by a 5-mana spell, so it is literally useless.
Okay, Crash.
Crash is definitely just
I wish
card, right?
Please never separate Sorfang and Crash.
Yeah, that's fair.
These are destined to be put together.
Yeah.
Crash, I cannot rate Crash outside of Sorfang.
Yeah.
The card alone is somewhat terrible, but it happened. Like this card happened to be playable exactly the time where Raid the Docks was one of the best quest lines available. And Crash was fantastic at blocking cannon shots. Maybe one of the best cards to block cannon shots, because just...
Well, while he's gone, I'll give my reasoning for I think Crush is at least better than Sourfang. So when Crush came out in Standard, uh, it was instantly playable in Standard, right? During the time, and like Sourfang wasn't always playable, I should say. Like even when Crush was out, there were sometimes you wouldn't play Sourfang, but you would always play Crush during Baron's like Control Warrior kind of whatever. So I think he's right that Sourfang and Kresh should go together 100%, but I do think that Kresh is should be one like above Sourfang by one.
Amazing. Oh,
But
the Kazgarot discussion.
yeah.
Too bad I don't have much to say about Kazgarot, except that the thing about the Titans that left me feel scammed is that all of the Kazgarot's abilities, all three of them, are actually just one. Fancy painted. Meanwhile, in other classes, Titans actually do three separate things. Kazgarot does one. And I'm really baffled by it.
Yeah.
That's my only frustration about the card, and you're free to rank Kazgarot as good or useless depending on like what's popping in Standard. I'm not really up to date with it.
So the card currently sees play in Even Warrior. It kind of not great in the deck, I'll be honest. It didn't see play while Sanitize was in, which is kind of funny. But because after Sanitize got nerfed, then you had more slots, so that's why you put Kazgarot in. So it technically is the 32nd best card in the deck, or 31st. But so I definitely think it's like a good card. It's definitely better than like currently it's better than these two. So I think it's fine.
Dear listeners, if your Even Warrior deck does have Kazgarot, please don't.
Yeah,
don't list a reason why.
Yeah, I wouldn't run it personally, but people are running it, is what I'm trying to get at. And then it's like okay in Standard, from my understanding. But all the Titans are okay, so doesn't really mean much.
Guess it's just the flavor of the season Control Warrior card, and that's
it's definitely the
attraction.
flavor of the expansion card. God, dude, Iron Juggernaut. So, Iron Juggernaut is probably right here. Yeah, I think
Iron Juggernaut was shuffle of mine. This is the second time I'm gonna mention Death Rattle Warrior. Although the Unicorn Exodia deck, which technically should work with cubes and Terran Gorfin and Bloodsworn Mercenaries. But no. Thanks Twist Format for letting us see Iron Juggernaut just a little.
Yeah.
I hope my comment is not too obvious. The card belongs to bad, though there is exactly one cultist in the DMH server, which his name is Randall, who forces Iron Juggernaut in the non-skipper DMH N'Zoth deck. Which is okay. It's adequate. Yeah, let us stay in the bad tier above the Rot Face variant and Geosculptor.
Yeah. Part of the reason I don't think this card should ever go in useless is because, or literally does nothing, because it is or was a good card during Twist when Warrior was good. You would run this in that deck, so I think it's pretty decent. This
I have special connection to Decimator Olgra. First of all, this card made me pre-purchase Castle Nathria and spend spend some of my savings onto it, and I believe I'm gonna do so every time they introduce a Diamond Legendary for Warrior class. Olgra saved Warrior in Nathria, but all of a sudden disappeared after Nathria, after March of the Lich King expansion came in. So for me, it is a really mysterious card that I really want to see maybe once again one day. There are cool specific interactions about Olgra. I love the power stealing that it has. And I believe it belongs in good because it did have a home, and it did wreck some faces. And I love every warrior card that has charge and punches the opponent in the face for a lot of damage.
Yeah, I
stays in the good tier.
I don't think I could say that any better. I think Olgra is just right there. Galvangar.
Okay, I have a scratch. I'm just scratching to just name this one like tiny interaction about Decimator Olgra. So when you brand the Olgra, if you brand the Olgra,
Yeah.
it actually counts herself and all the deadly wounded minions as part of her effect, because they're technically not dead in a death phase. That makes Olgra just go rampant. First of all, she can come back from negative health, and it's also very likely that on the second battle cry she'll punch face for like 11 or 13.
Yeah.
So Bran Olgra is poggers. Too bad no deck exists for the interaction.
I think Galvangar is an easy S tier card. This card's nuts, dude. Like, it was playable.
Galvangar was I gotta admit, Galvangar was the first attempt of Blizzard to print Odin, and it was a fantastic step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Big green charging man, always welcome, and especially welcome if they're successful. I can put Galvangar in low S specifically because it saved Warrior in Wild for like one expansion or so. It was used as a filler for bad decks to be not as bad.
Yeah, this card's nuts. Dr. Krastenov. I feel like Krastenov is probably useless, but if we include Krastenov in Rogue, it could probably go in good. But this is a Warrior video, so
include Krastenov and Rogue in the Warrior video. What is Rogue? I don't know such a class.
Yeah, I don't know what Rogue
Krastenov is literally me in real life. Like if you take a real picture of me, that's gonna be that's me. I'm gonna buy a meat cleaver to cosplay as Dr. Krastenov and maybe red goggles for it. I also like its flavor. It's like an angry Russian man dwelling in your basement, cleaving some corpses. Fantastic. I believe it's a little worse than Vizax, though. I believe Vizax has more potential than Krastenov to like spawn out of nowhere. And that's gonna be it. Yeah, I agree. Useless card, but it's nice sort of useless.
When Krastenov came out in Standard, there was a Weapon Warrior deck that ran Krastenov. It was bad. It was a bad deck, but it was people did play it, and you would play like Gorehowl and like Arcanite Reaper, and you would buff them with all the buff cards and with Krastenov and all that, and you would go face, and it was terrible, but it was a deck. That's why I think I think that it's fair for him to go like right here.
Krastenov has like a really nice touch of scaling, and it's fantastic when it gets copied because the damage output that happens, it scales like multiplicatively.
Yeah.
With Bloodsworn Mercenary, this card is a disaster, and I loved it.
Yeah, I think Krastenov honestly could be like buffed to 4 mana, and it would be fine, and that would be fair.
I'll be waiting for that.
Yeah. Watley. So.
Watley is the disappointment of the year.
Yeah. Well, so do you run Watley in Menagerie like Cute Warrior? Because I remember that was like an actually okay deck a few months ago. Like was Watley a
first
deck?
First of all, let me express all my anger and frustration about Watley and the fact that it uses specifically 3 tribes that are picked out of literally nowhere. And I'm also very angry that Ringmaster Watley does not use Beast in its circus. Like, what the hell? Who in its right mind will not include lions and elephants to their circus?
Yeah.
And instead choose sea-dwelling rogues to be performing.
Yeah.
Watley is out of their mind. Maybe they're actually corrupted. Maybe the actual corruption of Yogg-Saron was the fact that Watley forgot to bring Beast to the circus.
Yeah,
Watley. I agree with your ranking.
Yeah,
after all the memeing is done.
Yeah, I think you're right though. Watley was a gigantic flavor miss. It should have drawn Beasts. Like that just doesn't make any sense. It should have drawn like minions of every tribe, to be honest, because the cards was bad. Right, it wasn't very good, and it's not like giving Warrior a 5 mana draw like 5 cards would be that big of a deal.
The Purator in Paladin class.
Yeah.
Just crying a bit in the corner.
Yeah.
As it should. Nerfed in its state. So Ringmaster Watley. Ringmaster Watley was given to Warrior when its card draw was in like infancy, when Battle Rage was still in standard, and that's what like limited the design space of warrior in standard. So it's like the breadcrumbs that we had to work with, and eventually Watley was included in some decks.
Yeah.
I remember myself have pushed this in Taunt Warrior. I have pushed this in Rush Warrior. In Menagerie, surprisingly to a lesser extent, but I did push it. And it was pushed to like a Dragon Warrior, which I'm going to mention when we will be discussing the Dragon War Master Wound.
So
Don Honcho?
Honcho's just I already put when I was doing the Hunter video, I put Honcho in literally useless. It's going in literally useless. It's so bad, dude.
Fantastic. Yeah. Hunter Warrior dual class action right on the live stream.
I know.
So Don Honcho in Warrior, it has like it is slottable. It is slottable in 40 card Blackrock Warrior.
Really?
Because I mean in Hunter there is no such dedicated hand buff decks. But in Warrior, hand buff is pretty real.
Yeah,
so like, if you really want to push Honcho as like a 5-mana 5/5 that does something, you can do so without harming your deck too much. Like, what's gonna happen at the worst case scenario? Don Honcho can be put in the bottom of the bad tier.
Okay.
Just because I want people to like acknowledge the tiny difference between Warrior and Honcho classes.
So, okay, this one though, Lady Ashbane just does actually nothing because it's just it was worse than a 2-mana spell, and that 2-mana spell was really strong. Corsair Cash. Like, and Corsair Cash
as she goes by her second name, Lady Trashwayne.
Yeah.
Also came around when the warrior needed a powerful legendary the most, and also this was the fumble of the year, which brought warrior to complete irrelevancy and a complete lack of any deck or any build that I could pilot above 50% win rate at Diamond in the Sunken City mini set. Yeah. That was terrible, and I blame Ashwayne for that. Not only I want to put Ashwayne and literally does nothing. Okay, yeah, let's put her like a bit below. Put it down in the garbage bin. I hate her.
Lady Trashbane.
Though I have played Ashwayne once in Bomb Warrior. I did that once for one patch, and then never came back to it later.
Yeah. Armor Godillo. I'd say this card should go about like right here, right? Because it is good in Taunt Warrior. It's just Taunt Warrior kind of isn't very good, right?
Taunt Warrior, you're gonna hear back from us. You're gonna hear back from us real soon. Taunt Warrior is gonna break it somewhere down the road. Armadillo is underrated in Taunt Warrior. I believe it's underrated in Taunt Warrior because some people assume that you actually don't want to go hand buff route. And bad news for everyone: hand buff route is the only acceptable route for the. Please go ahead and subscribe to MagmaRager decks on Twitter to have all the latest Taunt Warrior updates, because this debate is hot as hell.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll put your Twitter in the description. I already had that planned.
Thank you.
Okay, so Darius Crowley. I think Darius goes in good tier. This card was very good in Standard when it came out. Like, it was the best Rush card in the game when it first came out, but obviously Rush was bad in Witchwood, so doesn't mean much, but...
I don't want Darius above any of the cards that deserved the useless ranking. I genuinely believe Darius is somewhat below Watley, but still belongs to useless tier.
You think so?
Darius Crowley, Darius Crowley can do something. It can do something for like one turn, and it can attract attention.
Yeah.
It's high tempo, and we welcome that in Warrior class.
Yeah.
Good. It's a good discover option from Athletic Studies. I like picking Darius Crowley from Athletic Studies, and I also like the 1 health buff that came in 2022 on it.
I think Darius...
I still wanted to... Yeah.
Sorry, I think Darius definitely should go to 4 mana. Like, that, like, it just should. Because this was a
depends on what the developers want
for a long time.
Depends on what the developers want to do with it, and I can confidently say that I found more uses for Watley than I did for Darius Crowley.
I think I think it's fair to put Watley in useless, but I don't think you can put it below or not or Darius in useless. I don't think you can put it below Krasinov though, because it just was really good in
Okay,
standard.
yeah, these two cards are actually very comparable.
Yeah,
Good
they're
point.
very comparable. So I think this is fair. Mainly just because Watley did, or not Watley. Gosh, I keep saying that. Because they're both Worgans. But Darius did see play in standard. It was very good. But you're right. It is pretty like terrible in wild right now. I'll say. I don't know why you would run it over anything. I don't even know why you would run it over Krasinov, to be honest. But
Again, fantastic athletic studies discovery
well,
option.
yeah, but that's a discover effect. You know, that's a little different.
I'm gonna
So
put memes
Hobart,
somewhere.
I
New
think
Hobart
fair.
Grapple Hammer. I'm ready to lecture you all on the new Hobart Grapple Hammer effect. The new Hobart is fantastic.
Is it
Like the
really?
buff that actually gives out to the entire deck and hand is gigantic, and I love how it plays out in all sorts of Blackrock Warrior. The only thing I really dislike about Hobart is its condition box. Like it makes me forced to play pirates in stuff that doesn't really want pirates. It requires like stuff like Fiery War Axe and
Oh,
Woodcutter's Axe and N'Zoth's First Mate and Sword Eater in decks that don't necessarily want to prioritize running these
yeah.
weapons. I mean, even like pre-rework Hobart, pre-rework Hobart was a meme
Yeah.
with exactly like one use. I've like had like one meme idea with the Hobart making 4 attack Fiery War Axes. And
Yeah.
then you can, and then after that, after you have 4 attack Fiery War Axes, you can draw one more using Forge and Flame, and have cheaper cutting classes. It's like
Yeah.
that's a crackhead idea, but it did happen. So
So
about Hobart Grappler, the reworked effect, it's underrated as hell. Definitely does not belong into the Lady Trash Vein tier, and this is gonna be like my personal evaluation of where it belongs, alongside everywhere. I think I think Hobart is good, but I can't really solidify my claim by anything other than its win rate statistic and twist. And Hobart Grapple Hammer and Twist, dare I say it, had 83, a whopping 83% win rate when it was
that's
held in Mulligan.
that's kind of high.
That's
That's
hot
like
as hell.
that's like what
That,
Chamber of Vasidius had in Wild.
Chamber got bumped to like 91 or something.
It got even
So,
high, dude. Yeah, but that card was like genuinely broken. Hobart mainly has that
yeah,
win rate because the only people playing Hobart were like warrior players. You know what I mean? So I can get that, but I think Hobart should probably go about here because like if we're talking about like the level of a card, it's definitely below all the ones in good tier. But I can see it being above all these other ones in useless.
yeah. So far, Hobart is a bit overshadowed by the hype to play different control warriors
Yeah,
in with Odin. So it's like a bit of not a correct time for for the card to come out. But occasionally, Blackrock Warrior is gonna take over, and Hobart is gonna see play in that deck.
yeah. Voon.
The effect is fantastic and is just gigantic. Okay,
Yeah.
Rock, the War Master Voon.
Warmaster Voon.
Although the effect is terrible, I have found exactly one use for it. So if you play Voon and you copy the corrupted Old God's Deathwing, the Deathwing
Oh,
Dragon Lord, it makes your threats layer out a bit. It makes Deathwing Dragon Lord a pretty lethal, layered out threat that is actually pretty hard to kill. Voon
yeah.
Warrior has never got me to legend rank anytime. I probably didn't even get more than 50% win rate with it at any point of time. And the time that I played this deck the most was Colomance, because Colomance had Protodrakes, the Plagued Protodrakes, which
Yeah.
also happened to summon 7 drops after the wave of stuff died. So Voon belongs in the bad tier, but below Iron Juggernaut. I believe Iron Juggernaut can kill way more people than Voon will
Yeah.
in his entire life.
Yeah. Blade Fist. So this card was like actually in meta decks and standard at one point, like, and it was very, very good. I'd say like if we're I think the card is about equal to Deathwing, like when it came out, its power level.
Sure.
So I think that it's fair to put right here, right next to Deathwing. But how do I word this? I don't think you're ever going to be playing Blade Fist ever again in Wild. It just doesn't. It's way too slow, and it like the base body is pretty bad. It's just a 4/4 with Rush. So
Kargat Blade Fist is a good signifier that someone is just clueless about like what are they gonna put in their Control Warrior deck, and they just want a value card of some sort.
yeah,
Recently, the Prime, the Kargat Prime, has been buffed to be a mech, and that's relevant for Nazot God of the Deep interaction, and that's it. I agree with your placement of Kargat historically. I really appreciated the card when it came out.
yeah.
It deserves a spot in good.
Yeah, when it came out, it was genuinely good because at the time, Control Warrior, like the mirror, you would play this card, and it's how you won the mirror. Is just who could get their Kargath first, and then you would just keep smacking their minions, and you get 10 armor every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Black Rock and Roll. So
I
Black
really
Rock and Roll,
want
I
to
feel
push
like,
Black Rock and Roll to S tier.
yeah, that's what I was
Because
gonna
it's
say.
only going uphill from here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think Black Rock and Roll is like a defining card of Warrior going forward. It's kind of not that great right now, by all means, but like this card can only go up, and it is a defining card. You know?
Printing Steam Guardian was a really bold move from Blizzard. Like they printed Steam Guardian knowing for sure they are pushing their boundaries. BlackRock is a deck building fiesta. It's not even like the eye candy that I've told about General Vizax. This is the most deck building experience of Warrior that you can have.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, random minions like Faceless Corruptor and what else? Alley Armorsmith
Yeah.
and Abyssal Bassist
Or even
find their home in places where they couldn't have been. Lord
Or
Thamar
even-
Theron, Last Stand, and putting spells inside ETC to sneak up a charge spell for your Remornia because you cannot main deck charge. These are the moments that you're like enjoying Black Rock and Roll for.
That's what I was gonna say. Black Rock just lets you do so many fun things with your deck. It lets you like, if you really want to, you can play Charge with Naga Giant, and you have like a 28 attack minion. Or no, doesn't have 30 attack because it's an 8/8, and that game's.
But it does have 30. Yeah.
You get that 30 attack minion that costs like 3 mana with Charge. It's so goofy and it's so funny, and like eventually this card will be good. There's just no way it won't.
I'm gonna hear back from the time Black Rock goes to 6 mana because of Standard. I'm actually looking forward to this moment, although I have had this expectation with Lord Bear of going to 4 mana, and it never happened.
Yeah, but okay.
So,
yeah.
what?
Thorbalor. I feel like Thorbalor... Does this card see any play like that? And like realistically,
I used to be the biggest hater of Thorbalor. Maybe I am. Maybe some part of me is still the biggest hater of Thorbalor. But now I can. I just cannot get angry at this card. It's like it is a deck building engine of some sort.
Yeah.
Fire
spells. I feel like useless is
fire spell good.
I feel like it's fair to put useless for this card in the same way that like if we were doing this at March of the Lich King, I would have put Halderon Brightwing in useless. It's not that the card itself is bad or egregious by any means. It's just there aren't enough fire spells to make it a good card. You know what I mean?
No, there are enough fire spells in Warrior, actually.
Well, how
they have been adding fire text. Awaken. the Galakron invoke spell. I'm sorry, actually, this is the first one I came up with. Embers of Strength is, and Light of the Phoenix are obviously the 2 best fire spells for Warrior. And then the third one comes the Jam Session.
Yeah.
And
Jam Session is a fire spell.
The ratio of 6 to 8 fire spells is optimal for your deck building, little flocks who are watching this video. I recommend you run from 6 to 8, no more, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let us take in useless.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair. Rokara. This card's fucking broken, dude. Like,
Rokara is broken.
Rokara's so broken. This card was
Rokara,
like,
Rokara is secretly broken and nobody knows about it.
dude,
Rokara
this
is
card
probably
was
the
like,
best card in the game to counter even Shaman.
yeah, remember when Pirate Warrior was the best, like, deck in Wild? You fucking ran Rokara, and
Yeah.
it was, like, incredible in that deck.
Yeah.
Like, Rokara
Not only is Rokara eye candy, like it's insane for a while because it's only gonna get better from today.
Course.
The Rokara rewards Swarming and it rewards Wind Fury and Pseudo Wind Fury minions,
yeah,
which are actually kind of getting good in Wild right now. With Crab Rider again in its river, yeah, we're rolling 2 attacks per turn. Cobalt Barbarian getting a sudden change where it can attack twice per turn. Yeah. That actually matters. Patches the Pirate, like being currently the best swarming option for Warrior, and maybe one day they'll print a Warrior spell that for 1 mana that summons 2 dudes.
Yeah,
and it's gonna break something.
Yeah,
Rokara, I love minion Rokara.
Yeah, this card's incredibly.
Although, gotta admit, just one thing about it. Rokara might be a bit dismissive when you evaluate its power level because it doesn't actually deal as much damage as it seems to do. The damage is delayed by 1 turn.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. When I evaluate Rokara, I might be a bit biased, but doesn't make it less of an insane card. Love it.
Yeah.
ETC God of Metal. Should we put ETC God of Metal in S?
Yeah, this card was broken for like 1 expansion, right? It was like
I love
genuinely really strong for like 1 expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely think it should go in good or S, like no question. But like, I just where I think under Galvangar is fair. I don't think any higher is realistic because the card is terrible now. But like,
I've just played it today. I've just played it today and I literally played Rush Warrior like the last
That's funny.
the last 2 days. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't I play Rush Warrior in 2023?
Yeah.
Like randomly.
Yeah, ETC God of Metal was a very good card. Yeah, in like Darkmoon Faire, it was incredible. I love this card. The flavor is amazing. The effect is good. It's 2 mana, so like it's not gonna. It'll eventually be probably good again in the future, especially after they printed that other 2 mana copy card. Like,
yes.
Yeah, there's just no way that ETC God of Metal will not be playable sometime in the future, and like it was already a very good.
My last 2 cents would be that Warrior's class identity is actually having 2 mana 1/4 minions.
That is true.
Adore it. I adore it when we receive new ones. They're perfect for trading. They're perfect for everything.
Yeah. Hack the System. I think Hack the System was like the worst quest in the entire game, or one of.
Raid the Sky Temple.
Raid the Sky. Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
Marsh Queen. Marsh Queen.
No. Okay. Hey, hear me out. Hear me out. Yeah, hear me out on Marsh Queen. Okay? I have a 100% win rate on Marsh Queen and Even Shaman across like 60 games. Okay. I have literally never lost. Not 60. Why did I say 60? 16. Sorry. But I've literally never lost Even Shaman from that deck. Never. Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a lot. That's a lot
Hack
of games.
Hack the system right alongside Trash Vein. They go together so nicely.
Yeah, I think this is
They're
fair.
A perfect pair of each other.
I think this is fair.
I have played Hack the System once in Menagerie Warrior. Just because Menagerie Warrior just randomly, at one point, happened to have a lot of weapons. And it was adequate. Yeah. I felt like Odd Paladin. Pressing a lot of buttons. And the button was overcast.
We're actually getting to some really good legendaries here coming up.
Asphodon the Grand Shield.
I don't know what this card's name is.
I do. So Asphodon is ass. However, it is also high tempo. And out of lack of options to have high tempo cards, I may slot Asphodon in Taunt Warrior randomly at some points. Also, maybe it is possible that Blackrock Warrior will get a shell with early game taunts, and Asphodon is gonna be like just the fuel for the shell, but not much more. The card is random. The card is constrictingly random, and it's infuriating how much random it is.
Yeah.
And it also does not let you choose a target,
Yeah.
but it could with some new modern Blizzard technology that's taught by Hagata.
I think it going right here is probably fair because it
Shadows
is like
Hagata. I see no reason why.
What'd you say? I said
I don't like Asphodon.
So, keep talking over
I believe my last sentence was like about like some technology of letting Asphodon choose targets. That it's actually inside the Blizzard game.
Yeah.
The Blizzard does know how to make minions choose targets for spells, and then they just decided to leave Asphodon with no love.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think it going like right above Thorbilar makes sense because like this card, if there's ever like a meta where there's like a solely super powerful spell, like it could be good in Warrior during that time, and I think
because the order, the spell is gonna happen at your face, and then you're gonna answer with that exact spell being returned to your opponent's face, but a whole turn later.
Yeah. Where do you think I should go then?
I will not.
Sorry, you just started cutting out, but I think you're fine now.
Well, actually, I hope it's nice. Hope it's okay.
Yeah, it's better now.
Sure, love it.
Okay.
Did you place it below Armadillo?
Below Armadillo? Okay, that's fair. Okay, now we're getting to like actually good cards. Like all of these cards are good, or were good at one point. Ankar can easily go like right here, right? Like in below Rokara.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like this is not arguable.
Actually put Ankar above Odin.
That's fair.
I'm not gonna hesitate.
Yeah, Ankar, like this card is so good. It got nerfed and still hasn't been reverted. Like Ankar is incredible.
I specifically love Ankar because it's multifunctional. Yeah. Not only because it's a fantastic card for Pirate Warrior. I believe Pirate Warrior is my least played Warrior deck.
Yeah.
And I still have my Ankar in Golden just because of how much I love Risky Skipper and how much Ankar is the best card for any Risky Skipper deck, and Risky Skipper is the best thing you can do in Warrior class right now.
Yeah, Risky Skipper could genuinely be argued to be the best Warrior card of all time. You could argue that. So
no, the best card, the best Warrior card of all time is the next one that we're going to evaluate.
Oh, Bear.
Yeah. This is actually the best Warrior card of all time. Put it above Ankar.
Yep.
I hope it doesn't set any debate. Lord Baraf can be shoved not just everywhere, but everywhere capitalized, and it's gonna save you. Yeah. Sure, go ahead. Put Lord Baraf in Even Warrior. It's gonna be terrible.
I think the fact that you even will like put ETC, which ETC is not actually that great of a card, but ETC is a good card at getting broken cards in decks that have restrictions, right? So the fact that you're getting Barov, or of course Rokara if you want to pick it, but most of the time Barov and Even Warrior just says how strong that you're paying a 4-mana tax to get this card.
That's a terrible use case for ETC, and I heavily advise you to never do that when you're playing Even Warrior.
No,
but this was a precedent. That was a historic precedent. People did that. I've got to admit that.
Yeah, you are right. No, you 100% are putting Barov in your Even Warrior. That's not like as an option, as one of the 3 options, but 9 times out of 10 you're picking Rokara. You know what I mean? It's just like because of how Barov is just like this card that like, how do I word it? You know how Dreadscale and Serpent Bloom are just so incredibly powerful for Warrior?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Hunter Warrior dual class similarities. Go ahead,
Yeah.
build the meme, build the bridge, build the relationship.
Lord Barov is effectively Dreadscale Bloom for Warrior and of course Paladin, but you know what I mean?
It's more of a dress scale for Warrior than it is for Paladin, even.
Yeah, because you can have so many whirlwind effects, but still, like you get what I mean. This card's just nuts. It was incredible when it came out. You run this card in like Odd Paladin too. Like that's how powerful this card is.
And Lord Barov is gonna be the life-saving card for the entire Wild format when it's in trouble by some dump turn 4 Giants Fiesta, and it's legitimately gonna be the only answer in the entire format to all of these.
Yeah. So Fire Plume Heart. This was a good card in Standard, right? Taunt Warrior and was good in Standard when it came out, right? I'm not crazy.
I am heartbroken by the amount of Fire Plume's Heart Copers today. I believe Fire Plume's Heart's existence and its historic legacy is ruining any development for Taunt Warrior right now. Because people are just hyper attached to the idea of spamming 8 damage hero powers as a win con, and they're overseeing that stats on board can achieve the same thing but faster.
Yeah, that's fair.
And without wasting a mulligan hand space slot in a hand buff deck. Like if you're playing a hand buff deck, hand slots is everything, and you're wasting one of these. That's terrible. Fire Plume's Heart is gonna be really hard for me to evaluate because I'm personally heartbroken by this card. I'm personally heartbroken by its reaction. But I will let you decide where does this card belong.
I think it is fair to put it in good tier because from what I remember, it was very good in Standard during Journey to Ungoro, and like this is like a deck build around card, like Galakron, stuff like that. It's not just an okay card that you run. It's like the entire reason you're playing a deck. So I think like putting it in good tier for like how good it was makes a lot more sense than something like Darius, you know?
Also reminds me of how quests are bad game design personally for me because whenever you dedicate less than 29 deck slots for your quest completion, you're like harming yourself.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So I think it going at the bottom of good tier definitely makes sense because it was straight up better than Thoribalor, and we're putting Thoribalor at the top of useless. So
go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Voon.
Belongs where it belongs.
Who was it that was talking about Infinite Voon?
Voon Zola. It was a shit post that I just randomly posted on my alt account, which is called Garage OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And Voon is I love Voon. I hope I'm hearing. Voon is a fantastic card, and I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Voon can be used everywhere.
Yeah.
Practically everywhere. It can be used for hand buff, to create more hand space, to create duplicates of your buffed lifesteal Bassists. It can be used in Menagerie for its namesake usage. But I believe Voon is actually having its lowest value in Menagerie Warrior specifically. I believe in every other warrior deck other than Menagerie Warrior, Voon is better than it is in Menagerie.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. Voon in Rage Warrior, because you can keep getting skippers, just seems nuts. Right?
Please do not call it Enraged Warrior, because whenever you play Voon in some sort of warrior deck with Skipper, I believe you're either playing War Song, which is an OTK deck that has nothing to do with Enraging, or you're playing Odin, which is also nothing to do with Enrage.
Or it's Math Warrior, right? Isn't that what you called it?
I love Math Warrior. All sorts of Math Warrior. I'm literally gonna build like a MATLAB add-on for all my warrior decks to plot my precious graphs. Voon can belong to S tier.
You think so?
Because it only gets better. Voon will only get better with the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Voon probably is a little worse than BlackRock, at least currently.
Yes, it is worse than BlackRock.
Okay. Raid the Docks. This quest was... Oops. Let me grab it. Oh, where'd it go? Yeah, this quest was incredibly powerful. Like, incredibly, incredibly powerful. Like, arguably the best one in the game at one point.
Yes.
I think it might be
Although
worse than
I
Odin because
myself,
I think it should be worse than Odin because like the card is currently currently literally trolling to put in your deck.
some of the deck builders are trying Questless Pirate Warrior,
Yeah.
and they admit it might have an edge over Quest Pirate
No,
Warrior,
yeah.
which is a
I
hair.
think that's fair because currently when you play Quest on 1, it's just such a gigantic tempo loss that it's not worth it because of how hard because the quest is harder to complete than when it first came out. So it's just a gigantic tempo loss.
Historically, though, I can put Rated Dogs right where you did put in your tier list,
Yeah.
because right now, for a majority of people, Warrior consists of two entities, Control and Pirate. For all the surface dwellers that do not know the insanity that we have to go through in Warrior deck building, Odin and Raid the Dogs are two essential Warrior pieces. And yeah, for the cultural impact of that, Raid the Dogs belongs in S.
Oh yeah. And then Bulwark of Azzinoth. I think Bulwark is probably right here. Like it's definitely an S tier card, no question. I just think it's not better than these cards.
What was the time period where Bulwark of Azzinoth was most played?
I know it was played like all of its run in standard. The card was just nuts.
I believe it wasn't. I believe it wasn't exactly all of its runtime. I believe it's Rattlegore, which I believe Rattlegore was the piece that pushed Bulwark of Azzinoth into playability.
Oh, and Corsair and Corsair Cash.
The thing about Bulwark is that it's a protection from terrible metas.
Yeah.
Bulwark, if Bulwark of Azzinoth is currently good in your format, that means your format is horribly balanced.
Yeah.
That means your format has like some early, unwinnable tempo spikes that can be blocked with nothing but like alibi and ice blocks and bulwarks.
Yeah.
Bulwark was a lifesaver in Sunken City against Switcheroo Priest, and it temporarily, not copium, made DMH Warrior Tier 1 because like you just put 2 copies of Corsair Cash and 2 copies of Forge of Souls to have 5 Bulwarks in your deck and never lose to Switcheroo Priest again. Yeah. That was a hilarious time to live in. However, I would put Bulwark somewhere around Remornia just because of how actually limited this card is, and it's very easy to play around, and it's very dependent. It's very dependent on the meta context. Yeah. Technically, Bulwark is a tech card.
Yeah,
I would call it actually more of a tech card than something you put in your deck to fulfill an engine of some sort, or just like, yeah, I'm doing my own thing and it's Bulwark. No, yeah. You're probably not doing your own thing, which is Bulwark.
Fair. I think that's actually very fair to call Bulwark a tech card. I think it's definitely the best non-S tier card because it's just so good at what it does. But you're right. I think it's fair to not call it an S tier card.
I love the entirety of tier list that we just came up with. I really enjoy the talk.
I think this is mostly right. Like, a lot of when it comes to tier list and Hearthstone cards is just understanding like levels of what cards are. You know what I mean? Like you can obviously you can argue like in between any of these tiers. Like some person might think, you know, because this card was so strong, it could be the best warrior card, right? Some people could think that, but like you can't say that something like Barov is worse than something like Remornia. You know what I mean?
True.
But yeah. I think this is pretty accurate. Would you have anything else?
This is accurate because there's literally not a single higher authority to claim this list accurate other than me.
Yeah. So, yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to add that I've had a wonderful conversation with you, and I hope this video will hit like 1,000 views or something.
My Hunter one's currently like 800, at least, so that's pretty good for me. I'm not gonna lie. So this one will probably do pretty good. Yeah. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me below in the comments what you think. Make sure to check out MagmaRager on Twitter. I'll put it in the description. Well, peace out, guys.